I'd say no, because I'd say that in case they do say to us now, guys, play the start and tune or something. You know, just in case. Oh Jesus, if you start doing that now, I'll get confused. Going into the second.
No, because it's very circular.
You don't stop, you stop
There's
stressing
three
stuff.
parts.
And
Which
it's very
second
hard, it's very hard to stop playing as well.
It is. It just go round and round.
Yeah,
A circular tune. That's a good name for it.
What's Circle Pony?
Huh?
What? Yeah, okay.
What's that one?
Will we do that once?
Do that now?
Yeah, into what? What's it going to again?
Where's that one?
I could need, you don't know that because I'm
No,
into, like,
my darling's
No.
into,
Skip that one.
Glenn McConey and my darling sleep.
9. Except the middle one.
As long as you don't start talking in the middle.
One,
We can stop it to do. Okay.
2.
Give it up for Treadsong. Woo! Fantastic. Hello, you're all so welcome. Delighted to see you on this cold and blustery day. It's warm inside here though, isn't it? Lovely and cosy. And to kickstart proceedings, we have our president. So over to President James Brown. Thank you.
Garmagat Lorraine, a Vera Nagaliva, a Colakaha, a Corja, Agus a Miclean, while Hermerdus Mugwigs a Gawaliv, a Thuchtan Chanshaw, Hortstam Kupla Fokler Olive, Egan Okad Sunsukshaw, Agus Midje Kalur, one Ektal Tabancha Mahagi Galer, says project, Agus said, it's a project show. So, first of all, delighted to be here this morning to say a few words. Unfortunately, I can't stay very long. I've got another commitment to go to, but that's not any measure of my commitment or otherwise to this programme. I think this is a fundamentally really important project in the university. I had the great pleasure, when I was registrar at the university many years ago, to initiate this programme. I saw what was possible in terms of the value of volunteering, in terms not just of student education and development, but also in terms of the development of a university which was genuinely involved with community. And it's tremendous to come back here so many years later and see the success of it. I think it has been a great success for this university. I think the whole volunteering commitment that students and staff have shown here is really tremendous, and it speaks of a university which is really committed to its community, a university community itself which is integrated and joined, and it's a tremendous pleasure to see this and to see the various projects that you engage in, to see the various work that you engage in both inside and outside the university. As you know better than I do, the acronym ALIVE stands for a Learning, Initiative and Volunteering Experience. It's a programme where today over 1,000 students will be recognised, confirming their role as volunteers in a very structured programme of civic engagement. This is our 13th ceremony, I believe, and over those 13 years or so, over 10,000 students have been recognised for their contribution to volunteering. Those volunteering opportunities have taken place right across the campus, right across the city, the county, beyond, across Ireland, and indeed internationally. We now work with over 400 community organisations, NGOs, charities, a whole range of people ranging from Vincent de Paul to Cope Galway, Enable Ireland, Age Action, Childline, homework clubs in local schools, which are very important in terms of offering opportunity to perhaps disadvantaged children who might not see the university as their natural outlet, Special Olympics, the Galway Science Technology Festival, all of these and indeed many, many more. And all these charities have given an opportunity to the university and to our students, and I want to acknowledge that because obviously without those opportunities we couldn't have this programme. And the programmes, as I say, provide an opportunity not just for us to support those organisations, but also for us to encourage our own students, and our own students indeed themselves, to develop their own skills and their own commitment to volunteering. I'm told that the contribution to the economy of the work that you have done over the past 13 or so years works to about €2 million if one were to value, as it were, to value the hours of volunteering work at the minimum wage of €8 or so per hour. The impact has certainly been very visible. And anybody who looks, for example, at the festivals in Galway over the summer period will know that. Will see the contribution our volunteers make to a whole range of festivals. Probably the high point was the Volvo Ocean Race Festival some years ago, where we were the volunteering partner and where we did, I think, show the true value of volunteering, both to the organisation which needed it and to the students who participated in it. I know now that the next great opportunity for volunteering in the institution and in the city is perhaps the bid for Galway 2020, which I know is something that's very close to the Mayor's heart, something which is certainly a big project for the corporation and for the university. And we certainly want to ensure that the university supports that bid, and one of the ways that we support it is through our volunteering and through our community engagement activity. It's also true that Galway leads the Irish universities in this area. We were the first university to take up this approach. Now we have a wider activity called Campus Engage across all the universities and some of the institutes of technology. And yesterday I had a meeting with the Irish University Association where we had a discussion about this. And there's no doubt that it has impacted the student experience across Irish universities, but particularly so in this particular university. I want to also refer to a speech that was made in this hall last week by the President of Ireland, Uachtaráin na hÉireann, Michael D. Higgins, where he spoke about the role of universities and the role of universities engaging with community. That was one of the themes that he addressed in a very, very fine speech, which drew a tremendous standing ovation from 400 colleagues from across Europe who were here at the European University Association Rectors meeting last week. I think that the work that you were doing is exactly in line with the kind of vision he outlined for a university which is generally an institution which values critique, which values community engagement, where active citizens are developed and produced. And I think you are the people who most epitomise that from the point of view of active citizenship. And certainly I think we can take great pride that in the university which educated Michael D. Higgins, had him as a staff member, I think it's tremendous that he can come back and see in his university the kind of activity that's going on here. And as I say, you are the sort of sharp edge of that activity. I think our students understand the value of volunteering. I think we understand the vital role that it plays in society, because it does play a vital role. We all talk about a divided society and we all bemoan that fact. But in many ways, volunteers in the universities and beyond are the people who help to address that issue. And there's no doubt that, if you like, if the habit of volunteering is developed and nurtured in the university, it's likely to continue on into professional life. And we would certainly hope that you, when you go leave this university and when you go into your chosen profession, your chosen career, that you would perhaps continue that tradition which has been developed here of pro bono volunteering, because I think society needs that, and I think it's an important contribution to meeting the needs of perhaps the less well off in our society. So I want to congratulate each and every one of you on what you have done. Thank you for what you're doing for this university. Thank you for helping us to realise the vision of a university as a community that's involved with the wider community. And as I say, I think you're bringing to fruition the type of ideals which Michael D. Higgins put before us last week. So with those few words, as I say, I'm sorry that I can't stay longer this morning because I have another commitment, but I do wish to sort of convey to you that does not reflect in any way my lack of interest in this programme. It's something that is very, very close to my commitment to this university and something that I'm very proud of. And I'm really delighted to see this occasion, and I wish you all the very best of luck into the future. Gurmila Maki, thank you very much.
Welcome to my sitting room, and thank you for a microphone. So this is my lovely sitting room. I have with me some beautiful guests. Jim, thank you so much, and we're delighted to have you. Welcome to my sitting room. This is our fabulous Mayor of Galway City, Frank Fahey, and we get to hear from you in a little bit. But first, wait till you see what we have in store for you. Are you delighted? Yeah. He has to say that. So to kickstart us, we have 3 lovely students who have been involved in some volunteering this year. So we're going to get to chat to you. So let's get started with, tell us what your name is, what you're studying, and what passion brought you to the stage.
I'm just going with the name first, right? Hi, my name is Neil Slevin. I am an MA in Writing student at NUI Galway. And this year I was a section editor for the Sin newspaper and a journalist for the paper as well.
My name's Jess Fernie. I'm studying human rights law as a postgrad. I was involved with Junior Chamber International Galway as well as the undergrad research conference.
Hi, my name is Leisha Lane. I'm involved in the Student Connect mentoring program, and this year I was the lead coordinator of the program. I'm studying zoology in final year. Thank you.
Great, Leisha. No, take that microphone back.
Okay.
You don't get to give up that quickly.
Thanks.
We'd love to know a little bit more about the mentor program. How many people here are mentors? Woo, give it up for the mentors. Your people are here. But we'd love to know a little bit, I mean, as a leader, you had to coordinate your fellow student volunteers. How difficult are they to coordinate?
So I suppose I started off as a mentor first year myself, which is what the program is aimed at, to help the first years integrate into university life. And the main aim of the program is that a mentor is a information facilitator for the first years, so they're aware of the different services that we have around the college. So I suppose when I was in second year, I thought, my mentor, I didn't know if she did a great job. I was like, I can do better. I'm from Galway. I'll give it my go. So away I went, did mentor and really enjoyed it. Then I said, I'll apply for be a lead mentor for the crack, more stuff for the CV, another cert. Hey, why not? So then I did the lead mentoring last year, and with the lead mentoring, we also worked with Mike Gaffney of Leap Leadership. So what his job does outside, like he works with all these companies, making them work together as a team and everything. So it was really good exercise with him, learning how to work as a team. And you get these certs and you think, I have all these skills and everything. But with Mike as a lead mentor, you learn more about how to apply it in an interview case and just critical thinking about what skills you're actually learning as a volunteer. And from speaking to him anyways, he was saying how volunteering is viewed as almost like a work placement. Like, just because you get paid for work, that's work, but volunteering is also viewed as a work placement. So just like all of you who volunteered, you should be proud that you have volunteered, and it's going to look great on your CV, but you've also learned something as well. Like, if you're willing to work hard for just a piece of paper instead of money, I mean, fair play to you. Keep doing what you're doing. And then I suppose lead mentor, really enjoyed that. A great bunch of people. Liz down there, she's my support coordinator. She's my right arm for the whole year. Couldn't do anything without her. And I'd like to thank Una as well and John Hannon as well. They've been great throughout the year. But so the lead coordinator, we had interviews last year, got that. Well, with the lead mentor, lead coordinator role, we get a scholarship. So that was also appealing. I was like, the CV is going to look great. But as well, because I was a mentor and a lead mentor over the years, I feel like half of my student experience in college has been volunteering. And when I leave, I'm going to think I've left NUI Galway with nearly 2 degrees. I have my zoology degree as well, but I feel like I'm able to apply what I've learned as almost like a managerial thing. So it's like an extra bit of spice on the CV, I guess.
Fantastic, Leisha. And I suppose on behalf of all of the mentors, well done on coordinating them and ensuring that they can have a positive experience as a volunteer. And welcoming all the first years is so, so important. Thank you very much. And it's over to Jess, who got involved in the community, Junior Chamber, but also with the Undergraduate Research Conference. And I suppose it's a unique opportunity on campus to, in a multidisciplinary space, share your work. What was it like to be a volunteer with that?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was on the organising committee, and I came on probably towards the end of the whole organisation process. So I was more involved with just kind of setting up last-minute stuff for the event, as well as managing some of the social media campaign. It was a really, really neat opportunity because undergraduate research doesn't get the attention it deserves. There's a lot of phenomenal researchers out there that the research isn't acknowledged, and so it's really incredible to be part of that opportunity where people will recognize for the hard work they do. And there's a lot of students who we're speaking to, especially I'm from the human rights law, and so I was speaking to some students there, and they were saying they've done some really cool research that no one ever hears about. So it's really neat being part of the conference and kind of getting people to discuss and acknowledge all the hard work, and so it was really interesting. It was a world-style conference, so it was a really great opportunity for students to get conference speaking experience without the whole kind of anxiety that comes with speaking in front of a lot of people. So it was really great that kind of set up perpetuated a lot of discussion, and it was a lot less intimidating for the students as well.
Brilliant. So it's a welcoming environment to not such a scary formal setting to be able to share the research and academic work that students have been engaged with.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I'm sure there are some researchers out there. So thank you very much for presenting, and wonderful coordinators, Lauren and Kira as well. So
thanks,
you.
Jess. Brilliant. And over to Neil. We're so delighted to have you with us. You this year have a passion for writing. Can you tell us a little bit about that and all the volunteers that help bring out a very fine publication at this institution?
Well, I'll do my best. So I suppose on a personal level, obviously writing is a major passion of mine, having chosen to take a career break, take a year out and come to do the MA in writing in NUI Galway. And then obviously writing for SIN newspaper has been, I suppose, just a wonderful opportunity for me to meet a great bunch of people, to work as part of a team, and I suppose to get a real experience of what it would be like to work in the publishing industry, whether it's publication or for a publisher. I started off intending to only be a journalist, not only be a journalist, but be a journalist and nothing more for SIN newspaper, and I very quickly got roped into, I decided I wanted to lead a column, so a creative column for writers like myself to get their work published, and then that led to me becoming the entertainment editor, which actually at the time was something I never thought or considered being. I'd always been more interested in sport, having a background in physical education, but then actually editing the entertainment section was probably the most natural thing I could have done as a wannabe writer and as someone who's very passionate about writing. So I'm very grateful to Jessica Thompson, the editor-in-chief of SIN newspaper, Niamh Cullen, who's also here today, our news editor, and then also to Jenna, Sorka and Angus, who I don't think can be here today, unfortunately.
Brilliant. So I'm so glad that you mentioned snowball volunteering. How many people have started with one volunteering activity and ended up with 10? Right? So it's great to see the momentum gathering there, hands in the air. And Jess, I'm so glad you mentioned social media. Don't forget to hashtag today. It's NUIG volunteer. Woo. So fantastic. Can we give it up for our first panel? Student volunteers, woo! Super. Yeah. So up next we have Christina, we've got Sean, we've got Tig, we've Catherine. Yay. Yeah. Will you fit? Great, grab the microphone. Yay. Do they look comfortable? They do, actually. It's a hot seat. Don't let them fool you. It's not comfortable up here at all. No, they're a lovely, warm, welcoming bunch, aren't they? Give it up for our next panel. Woo! We'd love to know who you are. It's name time, your course, what you're studying, and your volunteering.
Hello.
There you go, Sean. Yay.
So my name is Sean Henson. I'm a final year commerce student, and I'm involved in the Chassuas program here in NUI Galway, and it's basically a training program which promotes health and well-being in the university.
My name is Christina Hines. I'm a second year art student studying law and history, and I'm involved in the CAME Peer Assisted Student Leadership Program, which is about introducing first year legal studies students to legal studies and helping them in the college life.
My name is Catherine Ryan. I'm the Students' Union Equality Officer. I'm also involved in travelling abroad last summer with EIL International.
Hello everybody, my name is Tyg Murray. I'm a first year science student and I am the student lead for the Explore Project Digital Champions.
Fantastic. So you've learned from the last panel, you hold on to that microphone and you get the next talk question. Explore is a fantastic avenue for people who are maybe not familiar with Explore. Can you give us a little bit of a flavour of what it involves?
Yeah, so basically Explore is a student-staff partnership. So what you'd basically do is if you were staff or a student, you would go to Explore and you would come with your idea. And you would get paired up with the other half. So you would get paired up with a student if you were staff and vice versa. And then you get funding from Explore in which you can do whatever your ideas. So for example, for Digital Champions, we wanted to do workshops which promoted the digital skills of staff and students. And our idea was to increase these skills because we believe that they are quite lacking. So over this semester, we have been doing a lot of work in the identity and well-being sector. So, for example, our first project had to do with your online identity and how you, I suppose, act online. So you split yourself between your personal, your things like your Facebook, your social media, Twitter, all that stuff, and your professional things, stuff like your Blackboard and your professional email. We also talked a lot about, or we plan to talk about lots safety online, which is something I'm personally very, very passionate about. So we want to talk about things like password protection and phishing and trolling, and these are all things that are very serious and very, very pertinent in today's society. Like, excuse me. Like password protection in particular is something that is seriously lacking, and people don't have the best of passwords.
Well, thank goodness for Explore projects that
Exactly,
help us to navigate new initiatives on campus. Fantastic. Brilliant. And next we've got Catherine. And Catherine, you've got many hats. So I think one of the things about the Students' Union is that there are a huge range of programs that they offer for students to get involved in. Can you share with us a little bit about your passion in terms of volunteering through the Students' Union?
I think the main reason that I got involved in the Students' Union is when I was in first year last year, I came in knowing absolutely no one. And the first couple of weeks, I got dragged into this protest about student fees in Dublin, typical me. But from that day, I found a group of people that share the same kind of interest and the same interest in volunteering in particular. And it was kind of from that I got involved, and then I ran for the position of Equality Officer and got elected. And ever since then, I've kind of been working on making sure that no student in this college is discriminated against, kind of running awareness campaigns in that kind of respect, helping out with the SU charities over the year, making students more socially aware when it comes to the general election, organising the hustings. So any of that kind of information we're trying to relay out to the students and get them more involved if possible.
Absolutely, fantastic. So from the pool of volunteers at the union, so many campaigns across the campus can make such a ripple effect. Thank you so much. No. And in the classroom, a huge effect. Tell us all about how CAME works.
So CAME is about peer-assisted learning, where you have a group of mentors from second year and third year who create an environment in which first years can thrive and meet new people and not just learn about legal studies and law, but also learn about how things actually work in the college. So we'd have a lot of basic questions like, how do I get something in the library, or how does Blackboard work, or something like that. So we're there just to help them and make sure that their transition from secondary school into college is as easy and smooth as possible. And that's why céim actually means step in Irish, so it is kind of the step from secondary school into third level education. And also it's been amazing as a mentor as well, because it's really helped me come to terms with a lot of the legal study coursework that I did last year and revise it. And I've also made a lot of friends in my own course through doing it. And also I've gotten to work with a lot of my lecturers, and we've kind of realized, that they're people too, and that they're human as well. And
They're people too. It's shocking.
you can actually talk to them and go to them, and they are there for any support that you need. And that was something that we really, really stressed with the first years. There are these facilities there, and the lecturers kind of are there to help. So it was about the academic side, but it also was about kind of a more practical side and being there for the first years in a more kind of humane way.
Fantastic. Well done to all the céim volunteers. Amazing. And outside the classroom, you might be a bystander. You might see something. Tell us about Seosuas and how it prepares students.
So Seosuas, I suppose, as I said, is a training program to promote health and well-being. But outside of that, I suppose a lot of people will be in a situation where they see, something difficult, something going on, whether it's a person lying down on the side of the road, and I suppose afraid to make that first move. So I suppose as part of the program, we learned that if one person does make that first move, that a lot of other people will follow. So I suppose from my background, I don't know, just after the program, I think it was about a couple of weeks later, I think it was fate almost, that I was in Eyre Square, and there was a man lying down just off Eyre Square, and I suppose I didn't really know what was wrong with him, and there wasn't much life from him. So for me, like everybody, or like most people, you're kind of hoping that somebody else makes that first move, but unfortunately they didn't. Loads of people walked by, so I said, right, well, I'm after learning the skills of this program, so I might as well put them to use. So I went over and just made sure that he was okay. There seemed to be alcohol involved, and I suppose what I did was go and get even just a bottle of water, see if he was responsive, and I rang the guards just to make sure that he was okay. And that was, I suppose that was the first move. And then you've seen, I suppose, loads of other people then coming along and making sure that he's okay. But I suppose the moral of the story was, if somebody didn't make that first move, that time would have went on, and there might have been, I suppose, a worse scenario from the situation.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the meaning of Seosuas, right? Can you share that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I suppose the meaning of Seosuas is to have these skills. I suppose all the participants are trained in mental health, sexuality, suicide prevention, and it's just about learning these skills and putting them into practice.
Yeah, so stand up for Seosuas. Well done to all the Seosuas volunteers and to our panel. Woo! Off you go. Fantastic. Yeah. No. Sorry, not Ivan. Next up, it's easier if I just tell you that you're not next on stage. And actually, it's John, your lovely self, John, and we've got Mike, and we've got Blonit. Up you come, yay. While we're letting them settle, can we have, please, our distinguished member of staff here, Savio Costello, please stand up. Everyone, will you please give a bula boss? This man has spent 30 years volunteering with Our Ladies Boys Club, we learned this year. He's an outstanding member of NUI Galway staff and Galway City. 30 years! Amazing. Great. So this is our next panel who are going to really entertain us with some news. Blona, there's a beautiful image on the screen for everyone. Can you tell us all about a digital badge?
Yeah,
Thanks, Lorraine. My name is Blanas McSherry and I work in Celt. I'm a learning technologist. So I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about digital badges. So you all have your Alive paper certificate in front of you, but a digital badge is kind of an online version of that. So it's an online credential. So you can see there on the screen, we have the image that represents your achievement, your volunteering achievement. But what makes a digital badge extra special and adds value to it is that there's data associated with it. So if you display your badge online and someone like a prospective employer clicks into it, they'll see metadata about the badge. So they'll see who awarded the badge. So it came from NUI Galway, which is obviously a very credible organisation. They'll see as well that what you had to do to earn it, so the criteria behind earning the badge. So you had to undertake your volunteering programme and you had to do some reflection associated with it. And thirdly, they'll see that it was uniquely associated with you. So it's associated with your email address. It can't be faked, and something you can bring with you outside of university as well.
So all our LinkedIn profiles now are going to be full of this gorgeous badge. Isn't it smashing? Yeah, brilliant. And next to earn a badge is lovely student volunteer. Please tell us what you're studying and all about Cell Explorers.
My name is Amira and I'm a final year biomedical science student, and I'm here to kind of represent Cell Explorers, which is the scientific outreach program of the School of Natural Sciences. And basically, the aim of Cell Explorers is to kind of bring cellular and molecular biology to younger students, both primary and secondary, but teach them in a way that's more hands-on and interactive. So it's all sort of fun experiments they get to do, puzzles and games, and it's run by both volunteers and also project work within the college. And it started off as an Explore project as well, and it's gone from a project of just 10 students and staff as an Explore project to over 100 volunteers, and it has a direct reach of over 6,000 members of the public, and they also run lots of workshops and summer camps. And it's a great way to get involved if you're in science, to do something volunteering that's also kind of relevant to your degree, if that's what you're interested in, learning about teaching, and you also get to meet lots of people from different disciplines in the college and have a lot of fun doing it, really, because it's fun teaching kids about like science, and they get to like do all these experiments and like mash up bananas and play with chemicals, so it's actually good crack. So yeah,
I want to mash up bananas. But I think what's brilliant is there's the flavour of science outreach programmes across the campus. So many different people through their academic programmes are out in our local schools. So fantastic work. And over to lovely John, who's going to tell us from, as a Director of Student Services point of view, this type of volunteering, earning a badge. Tell us about, as a student services person, how important this is for students.
I would think that a key aspect of everybody's life is about happiness. And happiness comes from, ironically, a lot of the time, giving. And what we give is what we get. And it's all the research will show it's really important. And the other aspect, I suppose, that's really important is giving everybody in this community a sense of belonging, that we are part of it. And I think volunteering is absolutely fundamental from before the point that students come in, and so many of people who are involved in this room contribute to that. Of course, student services through mentoring, through societies, chaplains, counselling, access and career development, and work very closely with Alive, with all the other services, the student union and so forth. And what's fundamental around that is to give that sense of belonging a really good start, that tusma latna hybre, that they have a really good experience from the time they come in here and right through. And I suppose the other aspect of it, as they progress, we want them to get jobs, and it is really fundamental. We don't want any of our students here to be spoofers. We want all of you to be evidence-based. You have direct evidence that you're employable. You can give exact examples that you can communicate, you can lead, you can coordinate, and that means that you progress, but that the contribution that you make in terms of our community goes on, and it helps you both as a person, but also helps society, and it's absolutely fundamental and wonderful.
I'm so glad you mentioned Access, John. So many of you are Uni4U volunteers. I see the hoodies. Yay! Amazing outreach programs with schools as well. Fantastic work around social cohesion there. And it's our last hot seat there. It's wonderful, Mike, who, as a new member to NUI Galway community, and particularly focused on supporting sports and student volunteering through sports. Can you tell us a little bit of a flavour of how students contribute to sporting clubs here?
Massively, actually. The truth, sport wouldn't exist in the university without the volunteer sector from the students. People often think about sport purely about the competitor on the pitch, but that doesn't exist without the infrastructure that's built around it. And that's just not just reflected in the university life, but in life generally. In Ireland, currently, about between 230 and 260,000 adults volunteer every week to sport. It's an amazing contribution. And it covers, obviously, the community right from the youngest child up to now the master athlete. That, in terms of the finance department, put a value on it, and they put it at 880 million a year in terms of what's put back in by volunteering in sport. The beauty of sport, I think, is that when you travel from the city and you get a new job, one of the great ways to integrate into a community is through sport. And you don't need to be a world leader. If you come with the skills that you gain in running a club, they're actually probably the most valued. Anybody who's involved in sport, in the high performance or low, or at the very basic level, knows it's the volunteer that brings the sport on. And in a world like we have at the moment, even at the highest level, sport is run by volunteers. These people that have the soft skills that you're gaining. Technical knowledge is wonderful, but the ability to deliver and bring people with you in a committee, get leadership, to have empathy and understand what's the challenges of the people who are in the club with you. They're huge skills, and no matter what you study in university, you bring those skills. It will make you such a much better team player when you go to work later on. And don't underestimate where volunteers can bring you. Volunteerism brought me here. This is why I'm sitting here now. Because I would have qualified in a completely non-sporting environment. I worked most of my life in a non-sporting environment, but at all the times I was a volunteer in sporting context. That built up an expertise to eventually, in the latter part of my working life, it surpassed my and has become my career. So it's amazing what can happen into just enjoying, engaging with people and giving of your time.
Brilliant. And I'm thinking now we need the happiness song, guys, from Tread Song. And thank you so much to our staff and student panel and your contributions, particularly with that career focus, I think is something to ensure that we hit on. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Super. Okay. Fantastic. Great. Thank you. My lovely assistant. Thank you. Next in the hot seat, you get to introduce yourself. Tell us about your passion that brought you here.
Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Chris Noon. I'm doing a PhD in psychology at the moment, but I guess what my passion is trying to get young people, and people in general, more involved in political engagement. So we've set up a social enterprise to try and facilitate that, myself and one of my friends and colleagues, Owen Herney, who can't be there here today.
Hi, my name is Claire Burke. I'm here to represent a voluntary-run organisation called Horses Connect.
Hello, my name is Ivan Fahy, and I studied psychology here 2 years ago. And since then, I've started modelling and doing a lot of workshops and talks on being yourself and gender and sexuality. So, yeah, that's what brought me here.
Fantastic. You're all so welcome. Will we stick it with lovely Ivan? You're an alumni. You graduated a number of years ago. You caused a little bit of a stir when you graduated.
Yeah.
Will you tell us about that?
Well, like today, I'm wearing high heels, and when I graduated, I wore high heels as well. Basically, yeah.
Me too, Ivan. Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I wanted to be myself, and it was very nerve-wracking, and it's hard to kind of understand how scary it is unless you're in the high heels yourself. To imagine being in someone else's shoes, and I suppose I'm very proud of myself for doing that, and I want to tell everybody here as well, it's, you know, find what makes you unique and be proud of that, and use it to your advantage. Find your unique selling point and sell it, and stand out from the crowd. it's handy to have, the unique aspects about yourself in your CV and when you do job interviews. And if I wasn't the person I am now, I'd be a boring person that I probably wouldn't employ myself. But now that I'm Ivan, I have so much energy and personality. I feel like I can take on any role. So it's about having that confidence in yourself. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And Claire, you have a passion and you work with incredible organisations and incredible volunteers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'd be heavily involved with Horses Connect. Horses Connect provides, one of the aspects they provide is a therapeutic horse riding for children with disabilities. Last September, we came about to setting up our own Special Olympics Equestrian Club, and since that it's grown, we've had a few volunteers from NUIG, students. It's typically on a Wednesday evening. It's obviously for children with disabilities, but we range from, I think the youngest we have is 6 and the oldest we have is 72. All the work we do is completely voluntary run. Without our volunteers, it wouldn't be possible. We obviously need a leader for the pony, and then depending on the child or the person, we need to have 2 sidewalkers. So typically on a Wednesday evening, we run from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock, and we have 3 lessons, and in each lesson we have about 5 to 6 ponies, which involves nearly 20 volunteers, and without our volunteers, really, it wouldn't be possible to run.
And we thank you so much for hosting students and giving them such an incredible opportunity and experience. Yeah. Thank you so much. And Chris, a social enterprise, is that how you would describe Key Ideas?
Yeah, we consider ourselves a social enterprise because we're leaving it open to provide. We see ourselves as providing a service. Most of the time we're trying to provide that service for free, but there are some certain contexts in which we will bring in funding through that, through our services that we can reinvest in the enterprise. So it's all going back into the enterprise to make what we do more accessible to people. Because what we're doing is essentially workshops that involve bringing people together to develop policies on particular subjects. It's something that people don't get to do here in Ireland. We have a representative democracy here where we have politicians that they work very hard and they do a good job most of the time or some of the time, but we're kind of disconnected from the work that they do. So we're trying to kind of bring people together to come up with their own policy ideas, to empower them in doing that and to empower them in communicating those ideas to politicians. So every time we have a workshop on developing policy on a particular area, we also have a follow-up event with local politicians. For example, we had 2 candidates come along during the, you're welcome to come anytime. We had 2 candidates come along for one of our follow-up events during the general election campaign. A couple of weeks ago, we had a workshop on mental health, and we had Brezzy and Paul Dalton, who's running for the Seanad, that evening to discuss the results of that workshop. So it's all about kind of just empowering people to come up with ideas, and then getting their ideas out there and connecting them with the people that can put those ideas into action.
Fantastic. And so each student that's being awarded a certificate today, all 1,000 of you, you've gone online, you've reflected on your experience as a volunteer, and I suppose what this panel is really showcasing here is, this is the next level, isn't it? It's taking it deeper and richer and taking that action towards change. And I think really showcasing that as a current student, creating your own social enterprise for your own idea, the supports are here for you to do that. Whatever career passion you have, going for it and embracing it, and the support and love is here. About a year ago today, we all voted in a referendum, and made change in Ireland. And so I think student mobility around involving themselves in a community organisation, making change is such a key message from this panel. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, Claire. Oh, that's lovely.
Sorry, I forgot to say, if anyone is interested in volunteering with us, You don't have to have any horse background or knowledge. We do put our volunteers through training, and at the end of every year we do provide, say, a night out or something that our volunteers want to do.
Yeah,
so
we
go
need the
like
fun
us on
factor.
Facebook and
Yeah, it's so important.
get in contact.
Thank you so much. And up next we've got Pat and Alan. Brilliant. Brilliant. So we're delighted to welcome our Vice President for Student Experience, Pat Morgan.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I don't know whether Father Ben Hughes has had... Oh, he's there at the back. He should be standing up here, of course, making this presentation. But we're great into teamwork in student services. So this is a medal for the Chasseurs programme, right? And Chasseurs was set up last year and is, as we say, encourages people to stand up and do something rather than just ignoring things as they come along. So it encourages students to be observant, trains students to develop the skills to respond. We had 125 volunteers undertook training last year, as Sean previously referred to. Last year we awarded some medals to people who actually, of their own initiative and without the training, had actually saved lives. And we are really, really lucky again this year to have an outstanding awardee, Alan Herdman. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic what he did. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, because sometimes it might be easy if you're walking down Shop Street, and not taking from Sean, right, to come to the aid of somebody. It's quite different what Alan did. He was out in Rusheen Bay as a windsurfer, and somebody on the shore actually did the first part of the action for Chasseurs. They actually alerted him that there were 8 children who were at risk of drowning. So somebody, you can imagine this, you're on your windsurfer, right, and somebody shouts, look over there, you know, at a distance, these kids are at risk. I don't know what the rest of us would have done, but Alan looked, got over there as quickly as possible. The tide the water was getting higher and higher. These kids were getting to be submerged. He had to decide who he was going to help, how he was going to do it, what might be the consequences, all by himself, out on the bay. So he decided, you know, what he needed to do. He had a whistle. He tried to alert some other people. I mean, and it's a great, good news story. The reason you didn't hear about it, because you actually would have heard about it if Alan hadn't been on the water, because 8 children would have lost their lives, and it would have been a big, big story. So the thing to remember is that good news stories don't always make it, because nobody died, right? And because of his bravery, his quick thinking, his responsiveness, and all of those abilities, and his parents might stand up, and his brother are here. Just he didn't get it in the way. So you never know when something catastrophic is about to happen, and you can avert it. So I am sure that we'd all like to Chasseurs, stand up, give Alan a standing ovation for...
You're a treasure, Alan, an absolute treasure, my goodness. Before we hand over to our final esteemed speaker, I just have a few thank yous. So they're hiding now amongst the crowd, so this makes this awkward. So you can get your flowers afterwards. There's some lovely students with Alive as leaders and interns. You'll be familiar with their names from the hundreds of emails that we spam you with daily. So huge thanks to Ruth Underwood, Anya Gallagher, Neil Slevin, Michelle Temple-Moore and James Blackwell. Woo! Woo! They made sure each and every single one of your certificates is smashingly perfect. If there's any mistake with it, please don't tell us. No, I'm joking. Your names are gorgeous and beautiful, and we took lots of care and attention to each father and apostrophe. But if there is something that we need to be brought attention to, one of our lovely helpers will help note that. So we look forward to celebrating with you just after our close with collection of your certificates and some lovely treats behind the magical wall for you all to share in. So to close our proceedings, no better person than our Galway City Mayor, who on behalf of the city is here really to acknowledge the wonderful contribution that students make to communities, whether that be our campus community or our external communities. So over to the lovely Frank. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lorraine. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you this morning. And I remember I was here last September at the volunteer fair. And it's hard to believe, and I'm sure you're as amazed as I am, how quick the academic year follows through. When you arrived here in September, it looked as if it was going to be a long time until you arrived to this, and here we are at the last week of lectures, I believe. So my son tells me he's in final year arts. It's the last year of lectures. I'd like to thank all the students for giving of your time to nurture communities, to build social cohesion on and off campus, that we can all benefit from your efforts. I'd like to congratulate all the students for giving of your time during the year. I hope you enjoyed your experience and that you learned as a volunteer. I'd like to thank all the community partners across the city that hosted the NUI students, the schools, hospitals, hospital programs, charities and community groups that all provided wonderful learning opportunities for students. Students learn to be active citizens, engaged in their communities and creating change for a better Ireland. They learn about the vital work that is done for the most vulnerable in our cities. On behalf of the city, I wish to acknowledge NUI Galway for championing learning through volunteering, the Alive programme and its continued success in nurturing campus and community partnership. Since the Alive programme was set up in 2003, students have spent 330,000 hours of voluntary work on campus and in the community. Volunteering is important for Galway, for our 2020 bid, our bid to become the European Capital of Culture. And as President Jim Brown said earlier, the work that students did and the commitment that you gave during the Volvo Ocean Race, it couldn't have happened without volunteers. And the European Capital of Culture, when we are successful, and the decision will be made in the next month or two, in the end of June, the beginning of July, we will need volunteers to actually carry the programme through. It's an exciting opportunity for all of us to come together across the city and county, and through volunteerism and engagement to create new links and inspire the next generation of art, history, community, theatre, language, geography, science and IT projects, to mention but a few. Finally, I would like to encourage all of those on the Alive programme to remain engaged, keep going and continue to be involved in volunteering. As the saying goes, it is in giving that we receive. I'd also like to compliment Savio Costello there, a guy I've come across on numerous occasions, on having 30 years as a volunteer with Our Ladies Boys Club, an organisation I have huge respect for, and that it works with children around the city and it takes all children from all backgrounds and brings them together and looks after them fantastically. And without volunteers, it couldn't happen. And I do remember the incident in Rusheen Bay, and I'd like to compliment you on how you reacted to that. And there's a fair amount of truth in what you say. The good news rarely makes the headlines. It's always the bad news that gets the banner headlines. So I'd like to thank you and thank the two Lorraines for inviting me to be here this morning, and I'd like to thank you all for being here. And enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much.
Let's eat. You're all so polite. Let's eat. Go. Grab your certificates that way, food that way. Congratulations, you're amazing.
Yes.
Woo!
We played, we finished, we